Across the vast lore of Warcraft, countless mysteries lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered. One of these enigmas is Beledar, a crystal wrapped in light and void, whose true origin is still unknown. Today, we'll explore the latest insights from the Titans, piece together what we already know about Beledar, and then, in the final part, I'll share my own theory on what Beledar really is and the cosmic role it may hold in Azeroth's future. Let's dive into this journey and uncover the hidden truths that could reshape everything we think we know. In the third Titan Disc's message, alongside mentions of the Manifold Network and the Coreway, it's noted that the Earthen ran into some issues during their drilling. They stumbled upon huge chunks of hardened essence from Azeroth. The crystal from Hallowfall is shown here, which suggests, at least according to the disc, that this crystal actually comes from Azeroth itself. I think this is misinformation that the Keepers included on purpose. Wondering why? Let me break it down for you. First off, we know from the books in Uldaman that the Keepers have been keeping an eye on the mortal beings who emerged after the ordering of Azeroth through the Curse of Flesh. They knew about the dwarves in Uldaman and the Earthen in Khazalgar, who were starting to develop self-awareness and the ability to think independently. They also started seeking allies among the mortal races, hoping to bring them in line with their own goals, especially the proto-dragons. They're also aware of the heretics, those who turned away from the Titans' beliefs and started worshipping other cosmic forces, mainly the light and the shadow. They shifted from simply hunting down these rebels to trying to manipulate them instead. And we know they're conducting secret experiments and don't share their secrets with anyone who isn't at the very top of the Titan hierarchy. When the subordinates, in this case, the Earthen from Khazalgar, stop blindly following orders and start asking questions, it's easier to feed them half-truths. That way, their curiosity is satisfied, and there's no risk of rebellion now that they've developed a sense of awareness and a feeling for right and wrong. The Titans are determined to keep control, whatever it takes. They'll use whatever means necessary to handle anything that might threaten their authority. Whether it's through careful manipulation, constant watch, or sharing half-truths. It's all just part of keeping their order and power secure. Remember what happened in Alderus? Tyr had the proto-dragon Galakrond drink from corrupted waters, which slowly transformed him into a massive, monstrous creature. Later, Tyr positioned himself as the hero who stepped in to save the proto-dragons from chaos. This story allowed him to bring the proto-dragons together under the Titans' influence. Though it was all based on a hidden truth, the plan worked. The proto-dragons accepted him, unaware of what really happened. Furthermore, if you take a close look at the crystal, you can see that it has pierced through the ceiling, the layer of rock above, where cracks are visible. This can only mean one thing. It must have fallen from the sky. We also see patterns in the crystal when it shifts between light and void. It has a very symmetrical shape and doesn't look like a naturally formed chunk of azurite. Even the color doesn't match. The symmetrical patterns in the crystal are striking and reminiscent of other cosmic structures we've seen. These design elements hardly seem random, raising the question of whether the crystal was crafted with specific intent or perhaps by an unknown force. This suggests that the crystal was crafted in some way and isn't a natural formation from within the planet. It's these inconsistencies that make me question the claims made in the third Titan disc. So, those are my thoughts on the information from the Titans. Now, let's dive into the stories from the Arathi expedition to Beledar. When we first arrive in Hallowfall with Anduin, he has a vision and hears the radiant song even louder and clearer as he lays eyes on the crystal for the first time. This seems to only happen to people with a strong affinity for the light. Throughout our journey, he mentions that he can hear the radiant song clearly in his mind the whole time. In her first conversation with Anduin, Faerun calls the crystal a star. Beledar, the Emperor's vision. In this vision, the crystal called on the Arathi ruler to come to Hallowfall and take part in Renelesh, the final battle between light and shadow. The Emperor sent the Third Fleet west to find the crystal from his vision. When the fleet was nearly destroyed in a storm, there was a massive flash of light, and the entire fleet, along with the Arathi crew, was teleported to Hallowfall. There, they witnessed the brilliance of the glowing crystal, filling the cave with light. During our adventure, we witnessed Beledar's shift from light to void and fight against dangerous creatures of darkness. The Arathi Void followers had corrupted the great sacred flame, but with Faerun's unshakable faith, we managed to push the darkness back, allowing the light to reclaim its place. At the same time, the crystal shifted back from void to light, driving the creatures of darkness into retreat. We also learn in a conversation between Illyria and Anduin, where Anduin shares the story of Beledar with her. He explains that the first shift into void must have happened when Sargeras plunged his sword into the planet. Alongside the Arathi, we have another source of information. While hunting the Dark Heart and defending the Void Elf Refuge, we learn from Locust Walker that the Radiant Song was also heard on Koresh by his people, just before Dimensius destroyed his home planet. So, we've looked at the information from the Titans, the Arathi stories, and even hints from Locust Walker. All these pieces raise some big questions. Now let me share my theory on what Beledar truly is and how it all connects. Beledar is a Naru spaceship that, after the destruction of Koresh by the Dark Titan Sargeras, managed to escape the planet with the wounded world soul. The crew consists of Prime Naru, smaller Naru, and light-forged ethereals from Koresh. After their escape, the crew made several attempts to heal the wounded world soul. However, the situation quickly became dire as the soul began to repeatedly spawn dangerous void elementals. With little time to find a lasting solution, they were forced to place the world soul into a deep sleep to prevent further chaos. While traveling through the twisting nether, the crew tirelessly searched for ways to heal the world soul. The Prime Naru led the light-forged ethereals in experimenting with various healing methods, including the Radiant Song, a powerful choral hymn sung by the Naru. It was during this time that one of the Prime Naru had a vision of Azeroth and a slumbering Prime World Soul. Realizing that their journey was far from over, they set their course for Azeroth. They calculated the immense distance between Koresh and Azeroth, realizing that the journey would take an unfathomably long time, even with their advanced technology. To survive the lengthy voyage through the twisting nether, the crew put themselves into stasis. For millennia, they traveled across the twisting nether. Finally arrived at their destination, their ship crash-landed on Azeroth, shortly after the defeat of the Black Empire. The crew of the Falling Star remained in stasis. They were discovered by the Titan Forged, who dismissed it as another piece of Azerite and paid no further attention to it as no power emanated from it. The crew remained in stasis for over 10,000 years, unaffected by the sundering that tore the world apart. However, during the cataclysm caused by Deathwing, the shockwaves sent through the earth impacted the crystal, damaging parts of the ship and destroying several stasis chambers. This caused some of the light-forged ethereals to awaken, and they began the process of gradually reviving the rest of the crew, realizing they had finally reached their destination. The Prime Naru not only sensed the slumbering world soul of Azeroth, but also the deep-rooted corruption of the Void and the old gods within the planet. Realizing that the Void would relentlessly try to seize Azeroth's world soul, they concluded that Renelesh, the final battle between light and shadow, would have to be fought on this very world. Meanwhile, the world soul of Koresh, still aboard the ship, was sustained by constant infusions of light energy, occasionally stirring from its slumber. The light was so powerful that it radiated out from the ship, nourishing the plant life in the cave and attracting animals, while driving the creatures of the void deeper into the underground ocean. The Prime Naru, knowing they were too few in number to wage a large-scale war on their own, sought strong allies on Azeroth. They found the Arathi Empire, a nation wholly devoted to the light and willing to do whatever it took to destroy its enemies. Recognizing their potential, the Prime Naru gave the Arathi Emperor a vision of the underground crystal and the final battle between light and shadow. After receiving the vision, the Emperor consulted with his closest advisors at court. Together, they decided to send an expedition to search for the crystal foretold in the vision. The Emperor ordered the Third Fleet westward towards the Old World. However, the fleet was heavily damaged by violent storms, and the Prime Naru used their power to teleport the surviving Arathi to Hallowfall. Once there, the Arathi built their settlements and established the Priory of the Sacred Flame. They lived in peace, preparing for the battle foretold in the vision, until Sargeras plunged his sword into Azeroth, injecting corrupting energies into the planet. The corrupting energies surged into the world's soul of Koresh, and for the first time in eons, it began to shift back into its void form. This dark transformation unleashed a wave of void elements created by the world's soul. In the heart of Beledar, the light forged and the Naru fought valiantly against these beings. Through great effort and resilience, they were able to calm the world's soul, surrounding it with light and gently guiding it back into its slumber. However, this victory came at a heavy price, as many of their own were lost in the struggle. Since then, the crew has put safety measures in place for any future occurrences. Over the ages, Beledar has repeatedly shifted between light and void, each time requiring immense effort from the crew to flood the world's soul with enough light energy to suppress the power of the void. Through these great efforts, they have thus far managed to keep the world's soul in slumber, using the Radiant Song to maintain balance and prevent further void corruption. How long can they manage to keep the world's soul from shifting to the void permanently and become a major threat to all living things on the planet? Now that we've uncovered the secrets of Beledar, the latest content patch hints that there's still more adventure on the horizon. We're already hearing rumors of an island to the west with a crystal powerful enough to draw the attention of the goblins, sparking a race to claim it between the goblins and the Arathi. What do you think we'll see in the future patch? A Beledar dungeon or a raid? And are you hoping, like I am, that we might explore even more new areas alongside the island, like the Deep Grove or the legendary Goblins Undermine? Hopefully, we'll get more answers at the 30th anniversary presentation on November 13th, and maybe even a WoW roadmap for 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Creating videos like this takes time, so if you enjoyed it, please give it a like, share, or subscribe to stay up to date with the latest WoW lore and theories.